Well, hey y'all, let's talk about some cars. So I got a few cars in from eBay, and then I went back down to the hobby shop, what's moving, because they're going to be out of there by Saturday, they say. But today when I went there, the shelves were pretty bare. They were moving, they had everything in boxes. It's getting harder to look through. And they were working on my favorite section, which is the slot car section. So I went ahead and helped them move some of those things so they didn't have to throw them in the box rather ungently and bang them up or anything. But shout out to Bob at Bob's Electric Avenue. Got my beer koozie or root beer or whatever you'd like to drink in them. But he got me a Electric Avenue sticker and an early Christmas card. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Appreciate you. Love watching your races. Nothing like live racing, because then you see when maybe cars need work or whatever. But most of the time, I think most of y'all use new ones out of there's a couple old T-Jets that are in there, and I like seeing the original bodies at least, although I only have two. But on my HO cars, I got this gem off of eBay for 20 bucks shipped. It is brand new. It's an M chassis. I mean, it wasn't in the wrapper, but the seller definitely represented it well, and it was packed up very nice. And it is a Lifelike, the number 15 Motorcraft. I haven't seen this one before. I have one in a Tyco version, which I really like. But so we got one like new. I mean, the tires even feel pretty good. So I don't know where that one was stored, but they took very good care of it. And then I got a set. I bought a set. It was, I don't remember what the total was, like 101, 102, but it was a brand new Lifelike set, which I don't need any more Lifelike track. But I plan on taking some of the track sets down to the flea market when it gets better weather. See if I can just get rid of some of the sets if somebody wants to buy them for expansion parts. But the number 17 DeWalt, which these were brand new still, I opened the bubble wrap to get them. And it's a T chassis. The other one was an M chassis, which I prefer the M chassis, but these T chassis are great runners right out of the box. I think a lot of people don't like the Auto World Super 3s, but they're on the order of the Auto World Super 3. They're lickety split right out of the box. You don't have to do nothing to them. I don't particularly care for the COTs because of that spoiler that in the back that ain't gonna last long. I got a couple that have some that are missing. They're in my junk box, runner box. But I did not have that one, the number 17, and the 99 Aflac. Now, I don't know if Lifelike had cars that they restricted just to some set cars. Seems like the petty one doesn't show up that much. I did get one loose, but every time I've seen them, it seems like it's in a set. If any of y'all know about the Lifelike history, because we don't have any books on them too much. They made a whole bunch of sets apparently, because there's some that I ain't never seen that I'm seeing listed. And sometimes it's cheaper just to buy that set than trying to get the car on its own. A lot of these, I don't know that I've seen this one in the bubble or that 15 in a blister pack. It seems like I saw the 17, or there's another 17 that's not a COT. That might be what I'm thinking, another DeWalt. But I do like the DeWalt and the Cat black and gold cars. So that's it for HO. And then from, where was it? I was buying a lot of Scalextric's track lately. Seems like Brian had them on 40% off. Other places were 45 or 50% off. So I've been buying some of the more unique pieces, the smaller curves, the larger radius, a lot of borders, because their borders are kind of expensive. Although I have a bunch left over from the SCX track that I think they will still work. But the one place, I'm not sure if it was Electric Dreams or RC Superstore, but I had bought it, I don't know, maybe $40-something worth of track pieces, and I wanted to get the free shipping. Although I paid their shipping before, they're not horrible. It's like $9, but so I looked through their Scalextric cars right quick, and I found this one. Rover SDI in the Marlboro livery with the actual logo on it. That's pretty cool. So I bought that one at full price, which I think was $40. Got me over that $89 hump. But, and what I like about Electric Dreams, LEB Hobbies, this might have been LEB Hobbies, and RC Superstore is they don't charge me tax, for one thing, which you're going to pay on eBay or a lot of other places. And they all have free shippings, except for one of them said no free shipping on sets if you buy like a large scale electric set or something like that. So I like that one. That Rover's a long car though. It's not quite as long as that Dodge Monaco, but it seems pretty, I don't know how zippy it'll be on the track. So the rest are all from my local hobby town that had been in one location since 1993. And I saw Mr. Dave there today. He'd been there forever. And he was helping them load stuff off the shelves into the boxes. And he told me a lot of it's probably going to wind up in the dumpster. And I saw them, they had one of those two dudes in a truck or something showed up, and they were loading some boxes of loose stuff there because they had a lot of old stock in RC stuff and things like that, things that people don't hardly have planes or use anymore. And I would grab some small pieces just for putting them in my hobby box because they were cheap. But so I looked around, and one thing I found was this here Easy Kit. Now this is not a slot car, but it is a 132, and it had a cool paint job. I got it for $7, so I want to see if I can convert it. I'll pull it out. But so there's the cockpit and the body. It looks pretty well done. I don't know if they're stickers or decals. They look like decals on there, but so it's not unpainted. And then you got the plastic in there, chassis, which I'm going to try to convert to a slot car using spare chassis and motors and stuff from a Fly, Ninko, Scalextric, whatever out of my junk box, and I have plenty from those big bargains where I decided I wouldn't, if it didn't have some kind of racing scheme, then I wasn't really, I didn't care. And as cheap as they were, I was like, it's cheaper than looking for individual motors or whatever. But so I don't know how old this kit is, but the box looks pretty old. There's some more junk in there too. I don't know what that is. Oh, some tires. They feel like actual slot car tires. But that'll be something. Low dollar investment on a project. May or may not work out. I don't know. But we'll see. Put that back in there before I lose some stuff. But that was like $7, so. Or I might just look for a universal chassis and build one up for the body, because the body looks pretty sharp. It says it's a 360 Challenge Pirelli from 2003, not sure what that car is. Looks like a Ferrari. But that's pretty cool. And then I got a bunch of loose pieces too, which are just cables and things. But I got this Fly Jägermeister that I've already taken apart. I hadn't seen this particular Fly car before, and it looked pretty cool. But it has broken, cracked pinion. So I went on Scalextric. You hear that stop? Well, when I took it apart and looked at it, I could see that the pinion, the motor pinion on the Sidewinder, had a clear crack in there, and it's separating, so the gears can't mesh anymore. Now, I repaired one of the Ninkos by gluing it because it was just a tiny crack that you could barely see, and I dropped some CA glue in there, crazy glue, super glue, and then I put some lapping compound in it and hooked up a power supply and ran that motor till it was smooth, and that appeared to fix it. And then I had an extra angle winder body for that Ninko, or chassis, that was from a street car version of the BMW. It's BMW M3, I believe. But I ordered the slotted angle winder gear and pinion, which I pressed on, and that chassis is smooth as butter. So that came out pretty good. I hadn't run it with the new chassis yet. I still got it in the old repaired chassis. But like I said, I went on Electric Avenue and bought a bunch of slotted pinion gears. Apparently it's the same 11-tooth pinion gear that's on Scalextric, so I just ordered like 8. They're brass. And some of the rear gears in that pitch for Fly cars, because I read somewhere that the Fly the axle gear, rear wheel gear, is the same pitch on that one, the Lister Storms, and there was another, pretty much all Fly Sidewinders. So that's that one. And then I went and got, and remember, these are all like 50% off, but some of them rung up for more than 50% off. And I don't know if that was because they never update their prices and it was on sale or something. But this one was like 15 bucks. And it's a 4x4 Peugeot 307, nice bright yellow. So that one's pretty cool. I haven't opened it and checked it or anything. I'll be probably opening them tomorrow and going through them and seeing if there's any other broken ones. But most of the Scalextrics I don't think I've had. I have one that had a real squeaky back axle before, but I think it was just dried out from years of sitting on the shelf, little oil, and that took care of it. But I like the rally cars, so pretty much any rally car is going to be a winner with me. And then there was, I love that Ford Escort that I got. I won't run it much though, even though because it's a collector or whatever. But I wanted to get another Escort Mark I, and I found one there in the 50% off sale. It's this one right here in the Castrol paint scheme. It's always been a good color. I like it green, white, and red. Pretty sharp. I don't know who that driver is. Probably a British fella, I'm guessing. But several of them were missing the little screw-in retainer that keeps them from rolling around in the box. But that one's really sharp. Those little Ford Escorts, I love those. And then there was this one, another one missing. McLaren MCL 36. This is a modern F1. I have a couple of older ones in there, which are actually far more cooler. But here's a new one. That thing is like a school bus. It's long. How long that deal is. But this is the one with the digital door. And I got a couple of F1 digital chips for 10 bucks each. They were 50% off, and they hadn't updated their price in a long time. They're probably 25 or 30 nowadays. But that's pretty cool. I just have to find another one that goes, you know, in this year range. I'll have to look this one up and see. I don't know. Anybody know of a Scalextric card database? Because their packaging's all over. You can get it in the old purple one, which I think is probably from the early 2000s, to these are the current issue boxes. And some of the collector's boxes are hard to date too, but most of them do not have the DPR doors on the flip box collectors, which is fine. I bought a bunch of those universal chips, which is just a board with the IR LED that you drill a hole, glue it in, and then run your wires. And looks pretty simple, and it's a pretty small board on it. Then I got two of the Scalextric's collector's boxes. And, well, another Ford. This one in the Gulf livery. And it is a Sierra RS 500. That one looks, I like that car. I want to say those is probably from around 2000 time frame. Not this car wasn't made then. I believe the car probably that year model. I'm not real sure. They made a lot of those Sierras in the UK. My father-in-law used to drive one. I think in the 90s, middle 90s, he had one similar to this. Didn't have that back spoiler on it. But that's a cool car. And then these ones, which are really cool. And this is limited edition, 5,000 of them. McLaren M7C. Look at that. Definitely ain't no digital chip going in that. I wouldn't even try to take that apart. But that's pretty. These are very cool. I don't believe they're hard to find. I see plenty of them on eBay. I've never bought any because of the most of the conditions. They all have a glued on spoiler or that rear wing, or but these were brand new in the nice little collector's boxes. Y'all remember I got that Mustang in one of these boxes, and it's really cool. And I do like the John Player Special. I love those cars, but they're all black. It's hard for me to pull the trigger on an all black slot car. And they didn't have any anyway. It's just one that I remember of this era. And then this one is what is this one? Terrell 002. So Ford, similar car. So they'll be good to run together. Analog only. And it's the same deal. What we got? Driven by some French dude, old Francois Sabert, however you would say that. Francois Sabet, never heard of him. Who's this one? Another French dude. Joe Bonnier. I'm sure that ain't how it's pronounced, but the Cajuns might say it that way. So those are some really nice cars. And then the last ones are 4 Slottits. Now I haven't never bought any Slottits before, but I have been buying a lot of their parts to fix up other cars. These are all just loose LEDs, wires. I did get a cool little alligator clip power jumper. I'm always just twist wiring stuff together when I'm doing temporary work, but I have a lot of these power supplies that use that style plug, 12 volts usually, and I can use that to hook up a battery and run a motor in, or, you know, work on it. So that's pretty cool. But the first one, again, a black car, but this one's a little bit special. I've looked at this car many times in that hobby shop, and I never could pay the price that they was wanting. $74, but at half price seemed pretty good. And it's the 1966 Le Mans winner. Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon. So I believe that's the one from the Ford vs. Ferrari movie. But I haven't watched it, so, but very nice. And I would like to find another slotted Ford GT40, probably a red one or a white one or something to run a lot. I don't know that. I'll run it, but probably not much. But that's a really good looking slotted car. And then this one is another Le Mans. This is a Le Mans 1998 winner. 24-hour Le Mans, 1998. Porsche 911 GT1 Evo 98. And that's a nice bright white car. And I haven't run any Slottits. I hear good things about them. They look well made. I see plenty of them where you can get the bodies, but I just don't want to get a plain. I did one custom livery on Carrera NASCAR COT, and it was a lot of work and a lot more money in it than if I just bought a car that was all, but it is unique, so there is that. But how long my decals and stuff will stay on there. I sprayed a lot of clear to try to lock them in, but you just never know. And then this one is a Nissan R89C. C as in Charlie, Le Mans 1989. With some Japanese fellas' names on there. Good looking car. I believe I have driven this car on one of the Gran Turismos. I'm not sure which one. I've got all the Gran Turismo games on PlayStation from 1 all the way up to 7. I might be missing one of them, but I love that game. Love driving that, and it's one of the best games ever made, video games for driving, other than the Xbox. So I can't remember the name of that series, but they have some good driving games too. Xbox 360 had some awesome driving games. But yeah, it's a real good looking car right there. It will be getting opened and put on a track soon. Looks like a fast car. Then the last one is another black car. Almost didn't pick it up. I was like, what the heck. Save it from the dumpster, right? They're moving Saturday, so we'll see what their new store looks like. I got a feeling they ain't gonna stay in business much longer. It's starting to look like a fire sale. But this one is a Lola B11/80, third LMP in Le Mans 2011. It's a Microsoft Office car. Black with silver top. But that might be fun zipping around on the track. And that's it. I don't know, that had to be 10 or 12 cars. I hate to even think. A couple of those F1 digital chips that I was saying. And a whole bunch. Another spare slotted chassis that was like $2. LEDs, some sports. Some more of those guide flags. More flashing LEDs. So that's about it for my they're going out of business sale. Ain't much use in going back. All I had left in 132 was some 3 or 4 Scalextric minis, which I have one of those coming from eBay probably tomorrow or the next day. And I already have a Ninko mini, so I have 2 minis to run already. And they're tiny little cars, so they probably won't get chipped or anything. And then they had, you know, that Mr. Bean car, tricycle looking thing. I don't even remember what they call those, but not a car that I would think ever sold very well. They did have one pretty good looking Jaguar, and it was a green, does that say XR7, XR8? It was green and white, but man, that thing was long, like the V12 or something. I don't know, but it's almost as long as the Superbird cars. So I gave it a miss, and then, like I said, they're about cleaned out on anything I'd still be interested in, unless I dig through their small parts box for stuff like this, you know. But I'll wait until they get to their new shop. They probably will put a bunch of stuff on the table as they're opening and get rid of all the old stock stuff. Like I said, these from the airplanes and things, they got a lot of cool small parts like LEDs and switches and stuff like that you can hobby around with and use in other projects at a cheap price, you know, without, I mean, you can find LEDs. I bought 200 on eBay for, I think, $9. But those are individual LEDs, and you got to figure out the resistor value to run them on certain voltages, or run several in series to knock the voltage down. But then if one of them goes out, all of them will be out. So that's about it, y'all. Let me know what you think. Anybody know of a source to look up the, you know, the era that these Scalextrics come from, or do they have a date code on the package to know? I mean, they've been in business a very long time, so it's hard to know unless you look at them online and you see that it's back in the pre-90 time, when they didn't put a whole lot of detail into the decoration on the car or whatever, and they're pretty crude looking. Some of them are cool, but like I got a couple 90s Hornby Alfa Romeo 155s that I really like. I bought one at Slot Car Central. I found one on eBay, and I got another one coming. They're just hard to find in different liveries. Seems like most of them are red, but I got a white one coming, so that'll be cool. I'll show them when they come. Y'all take care.